Why does caring too much slowly destroy you? You try to be understanding, you try to be kind, you try to explain yourself, to fix things, to keep everyone satisfied. And yet, the more you care, the more drained, anxious, and powerless you feel. Here's the brutal truth no one tells you. Most of your suffering doesn't come from what happens to you. It comes from what you refuse to let go of. Stoic philosophers understood this thousands of years ago. They didn't teach indifference as coldness. They taught it as precision, knowing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. Today, you're going to learn 7 Stoic principles that will help you master the art of not caring without becoming bitter, selfish, or empty. This is about reclaiming your peace, your focus, your power. Stay with me until the end. Because letting go isn't weakness. It's how strong people survive. 1. Stop caring about what you can't control. Most people are exhausted for one simple reason. They spend their lives caring about things they were never meant to control. What people think of them, how others react, whether they're appreciated, understood, or treated fairly. You replay conversations, you imagine different outcomes, you try to manage impressions, emotions, and opinions that don't belong to you. And slowly, your energy leaks away. Stoicism draws a hard line here. There are only 2 categories in life: what is within your control and what is not. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, those are yours. Everything else, other people's moods, judgments, reactions, and outcomes, is not. The moment you stop respecting that boundary, you suffer. Think about modern life. You post something online and check your phone 10 times. You do your best at work but obsess over your boss's tone. You say the right thing in a relationship but still fear losing control. None of that is power. That's dependency. The Stoic response is not anger. It's not apathy. It's selective indifference. You still act with integrity. You still do your part. But you release the illusion that you must control the result. Here's the shift that changes everything. Instead of asking, why are they acting like this? Ask, what part of this is actually mine? If it's your effort, improve it. If it's your behavior, correct it. If it's your attitude, refine it. But if it's their opinion, their mood, or their response, you let it go. Not because you don't care, but because your peace is more valuable than their approval. This is where freedom begins. The moment you stop emotionally investing in what you can't control, your mind becomes quieter, your decisions become sharper, your self-respect grows. Try this today. When something triggers you, pause and ask one question. Is this under my control? If the answer is no, release it immediately. No argument, no justification, no mental debate, and repeat this Stoic reminder. Indifference to the uncontrollable is freedom. When you master this principle, you don't become careless. You become unstoppable. 2. Detach from outcomes. Commit to actions. One of the fastest ways to lose inner peace is to tie your worth to outcomes you don't fully control. You work hard, but you need recognition. You give effort, but you demand results. You show up, but you obsess over whether it will pay off. And when it doesn't, frustration takes over. This is where most people break. Stoicism teaches something radically different. You're responsible for your actions, not for how the world responds to them. Outcomes are influenced by luck, timing, other people, and forces you'll never see. But your effort, that belongs to you. When you obsess over results, 2 things happen. First, you lose focus. Instead of doing the work well, you start negotiating with reality. Second, you become emotionally unstable. Good outcome, you feel high. Bad outcome, you feel defeated. That's not strength. That's emotional gambling. The Stoic mindset is cleaner. You commit fully to the process and release attachment to the outcome. Think about the gym. If you train only to see results quickly, you'll quit the moment progress slows. But if you train because training is who you are, results become a side effect, not a condition. Same with work, same with relationships, same with personal growth. You don't act to control the future. You act because acting well is your duty. Here's the quiet power in this principle. When outcomes no longer define you, nothing can threaten your self-respect. You show up. You do the right thing. You apply effort with discipline. And whatever happens, happens. No bitterness, no desperation, no emotional collapse. Try this Stoic reframe. Instead of saying, "I hope this works out," say, "I will do my part well," and accept the rest. Define your ideal daily actions. What does showing up properly look like? What behaviors align with your values? What effort is within your control today? Then execute, without clinging. Repeat this inner rule. I care about doing my part. The outcome is not my burden. When you detach from outcomes, you don't become passive, you become consistent. And consistency, over time, builds a life nothing can shake. 3. Don't take things personally. Nothing steals your peace faster than believing everything is about you. A short reply feels like rejection. A cold tone feels like disrespect. Someone's bad mood suddenly becomes your responsibility. So you overthink. You replay moments. You shrink, defend, or explain yourself. And quietly, you hand your power away. Stoicism cuts through this illusion with brutal clarity. Most of what people do has nothing to do with you. It reflects their fears, their insecurities, their stress, ego, and unresolved battles. When someone lashes out, ignores you, or judges you, you're not seeing truth about your worth. You're witnessing their internal state. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't waste energy interpreting every reaction as a verdict on their value. They judged only one thing: their own character. Think about everyday life. A co-worker snaps at you. Maybe they're overwhelmed. A friend distances themselves. Maybe they're lost. A stranger disrespects you. Maybe they're fighting something you'll never see, but when you take it personally, you turn their problem into your burden. That's unnecessary suffering. Here's the Stoic shift that changes everything. You stop asking, "What does this say about me?" and start asking, "What does this reveal about them?" That doesn't make you naive. It makes you emotionally intelligent. You still set boundaries. You still protect yourself, but you don't internalize what isn't yours. This principle creates emotional distance without emotional numbness. You can observe behavior without absorbing it. You can acknowledge pain without letting it define you. Try this simple reframe next time you feel triggered. Say silently, "This is information, not a verdict." Information helps you decide how close someone gets. A verdict chains your self-worth to their behavior. Repeat this Stoic reminder. What others say and do is their responsibility. How I respond is mine. When you stop taking things personally, you don't become cold, you become clear, and clarity is the foundation of inner freedom. 4. Let go of the need to be liked. The need to be liked is one of the most expensive addictions in modern life. It makes you soften your truth, lower your standards, bite your tongue when you should speak, stay silent when you should walk away, not because you're weak, but because you're afraid of losing approval. Stoicism calls this what it is: voluntary slavery. The moment you need others to like you in order to feel okay, they own your behavior. You start performing instead of living, explaining instead of standing firm, negotiating your values to avoid discomfort. The Stoics rejected this completely. They lived by virtue, not applause. Doing what is right mattered more than being accepted. Integrity mattered more than popularity. self-respect mattered more than belonging. Think about how this shows up today. You say yes when you mean no. You tolerate disrespect to avoid conflict. You hide parts of yourself so you won't be judged, and slowly you disappear. Here's the Stoic truth most people avoid. If everyone likes you, you are compromising somewhere. Not everyone is meant to understand you. Not everyone deserves access to you. And not everyone will approve of a person who lives with standards. That's not a flaw. That's evidence of alignment. When you release the need to be liked, something powerful happens. Your words become cleaner. Your boundaries become visible. Your presence becomes heavier. You don't explain yourself unnecessarily. You don't chase reassurance. You don't bend to fit into spaces that drain you. You act and let the reaction be whatever it is. Try this Stoic exercise. For one day, do not explain your choices unless clarification is genuinely required. No over-justifying. No defending your boundaries. No emotional speeches. Just calm, grounded decisions. And repeat this reminder. I would rather be respected for who I am than liked for who I'm not. Letting go of approval doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you free. Because the moment you respect yourself, you stop needing permission to exist. 5. Accept that life is unfair. One of the biggest reasons people can't let go is because they're secretly waiting for life to be fair. They did the right thing but got ignored. They stayed loyal but were betrayed. They worked hard but someone else moved ahead. And the question keeps looping in their mind. Why me? Stoicism answers this without comfort, but with freedom. Life was never promised to be fair. The moment you expect fairness, you hand life a weapon to hurt you. Because every injustice feels personal, every setback feels like an insult, every comparison becomes poison. The Stoics refused this illusion. They didn't ask life for fairness. They trained themselves for resilience. Unfairness was not a curse. It was the training ground. Think about how unfairness traps people today. You compare your timeline to someone else's. You measure effort against reward. You replay moments where you were wronged. And each time you do, you stay stuck in the past, powerless. Here's the Stoic shift that breaks this cycle. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How do I respond with strength?" Unfairness becomes lighter the moment you stop arguing with reality, because reality doesn't negotiate. When someone betrays you, you don't beg for justice. You learn discernment. When you're overlooked, you don't collapse. You sharpen your competence. When life takes something from you, you don't cling. You adapt. This is where letting go becomes real. Not because things stop hurting, but because pain stops owning you. Try this reframing practice. The next time something feels unfair, say, "This is not an attack. This is training." Training your patience, training your boundaries, training your independence. And repeat this Stoic reminder, the world owes me nothing, but I owe myself strength. When you accept that life is unfair, resentment loosens its grip. You stop comparing, you stop keeping score, you stop waiting for closure from the world, and that's when you become lighter, stronger, and harder to break. 6. Practice emotional distance, not suppression. Most people misunderstand emotional strength. They think being strong means not feeling, so they suppress anger, ignore sadness, bury disappointment. But suppressed emotions don't disappear. They wait, they build pressure, and eventually they explode or turn inward. Stoicism never taught emotional denial. It taught emotional distance. There is a critical difference. Suppression says, "I shouldn't feel this." Distance says, "I see this, but I don't obey it." The Stoics understood that emotions are automatic, but reactions are a choice. You don't control the first spark. You control whether you feed the fire. Think about a moment when emotion hijacks people today. A comment triggers anger. A message triggers anxiety. A memory triggers regret. And before they know it, they're reacting, not choosing. Words are said. Decisions are made. Damage is done. The Stoic response begins with space. A pause between stimulus and response. Not long, just enough to reclaim authority. Here's the Stoic method. Simple but powerful. Pause. Name, reframe, choose. Pause, don't react immediately. Name, this is anger. This is fear. Reframe, this emotion is information, not a command. Choose, respond in alignment with your values. That distance changes everything. Anger becomes clarity. Fear becomes caution. Sadness becomes insight. You don't fight emotions, you observe them. This is what it means to let go emotionally, not pushing feelings away, but refusing to be dragged by them. Try this practice today. When you feel triggered, silently say, I feel this, but I am not this. Let the sensation pass through you instead of building a story around it. And repeat this Stoic reminder. I observe my emotions, but I decide my actions. When you master emotional distance, you don't become numb. You become centered, and a centered mind is almost impossible to control. 7. Remember, everything is temporary. What makes letting go so difficult is the illusion that things are permanent. Permanent pain, permanent loss, permanent mistakes. So you cling, you replay, you resist the natural flow of life, and resistance is where suffering lives. Stoicism offers one of its most powerful reminders here. Nothing stays. Not people, not emotions, not success, not failure. Everything that enters your life is already on its way out. This isn't pessimism, it's liberation. Most pain intensifies because we tell ourselves stories like, this will never end. I'll always feel this way. I've lost something forever. But those stories are lies created by attachment. The Stoics practiced a mindset that cuts through this illusion. They remembered impermanence daily, not to become detached from life, but to become present without clinging. Think about loss. A breakup feels unbearable because you believe that chapter defined you. A failure hurts because you think it ruined your future. A mistake haunts you because you assume it's permanent. But time moves, whether you resist it or not. And eventually, the intensity fades. The meaning changes. You evolve. Letting go begins the moment you stop demanding that things stay the same. You don't need to erase memories. You don't need to force acceptance. You simply acknowledge this truth. This moment is passing. Joy passes, so appreciate it. Pain passes, so endure it. People pass, so value them without possession. Here's a Stoic practice that dissolves attachment. When something feels overwhelming, say quietly, this too will pass, and so will I. That sentence shrinks the problem and expands your perspective. Suddenly, urgency disappears. Fear loosens. Grief softens. You stop gripping life with clenched fists and start holding it with open hands. And repeat this final reminder. I let go, because nothing truly belongs to me. When you accept impermanence, you don't become careless. You become light, and a light soul moves freely through life. Letting go is strength. Let's bring this together. You've just learned 7 Stoic principles. Not to stop caring completely, but to care with discipline. You learn to release what you can't control, to act without clinging to outcomes, to stop taking everything personally, to let go of approval, to accept unfairness without bitterness, to create distance from emotions instead of being dragged by them, and to remember that everything, absolutely everything, is temporary. This isn't about making life easier. It's about making you stronger. Because the person who masters letting go is no longer controlled by fear, attachment, or expectation. They act with clarity, They respond with calm. They move through life without unnecessary weight. If one of these principles hit you hard, that's not coincidence. That's awareness. Hold on to that one principle. Practice it daily. Let it change how you think, how you react, how you live. If this resonated with you, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs peace more than advice. And leave a comment with this affirmation: I release what I can't control, and I keep my peace. Remember this: not caring about the wrong things is how you protect what truly matters. Stay disciplined, stay grounded, and walk forward, lighter than before.